still undefeated. Whether you want to talk about his cruiserweight, whether you want to talk about heavyweight, you want to talk about him at middleweight, still undefeated. Whoever he's fought, not lost to. But in the last 2 fights, Tyson Fury has lost. One was close to this one. I think was more heavily weighted towards Usyk. Jay, if you're Tyson Fury, what do you do next?
First of all, Chuck, you spend how many, 3 months not talking to your wife or kids? For what? For what? For you to go out there and lose? Like, you know that scene in Troy where it is that king who Helen left, Agamemnon, when Paris is there, flailing on the floor, and he asked the question, "Is this what you left me for?" This is the question that Tyson Fury's wife should be asking and his kids. Is this why we didn't see you? So you could go out there and get beat. Now, given he wasn't embarrassed out there in that boxing ring, but still, man. Because on the flip side, Chuck, Usyk comes in with his comments saying he relies on his wife and kids. They help him to get these wins. And man, it's a win for families right now. But Chuck, in terms of what I think should happen with these two men, with Tyson Fury, right? With Tyson Fury, there's always been that dream matchup of him coming up against Anthony Joshua. But this is what happens now. This is what happens when the fights that need to happen don't happen in the time they need to happen. So what happens when you don't have a Dana White running your show, and you guys and your promoters are the ones who are making decisions where time and again guys are ducking guys, or it's whether it's testing, whether it's not being in the right condition at the right time, whether it's not being able to agree on the money. This is what happens, because what has happened from the first moment we started salivating at a Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury fight is that Joshua has gone downhill, right? And one of the last times we saw him in the ring, he was speaking crazy after a loss. And you're like, man, maybe this man should not box ever again. And with Tyson Fury now, Usyk replaced Anthony Joshua, and as well after Tyson Fury and his series against Deontay Wilder as the core main event, right? Not the core main event, the co-protagonist in the main event with Tyson Fury. And we've seen it now, Chuck. And what we've seen is that Usyk is the superior fighter. He's the fighter of this generation. He has stamped his name that, as I'm saying, he stands on the mountaintop. If you're talking about heavyweight boxing in this time, for the longest time we thought it was Tyson Fury, because he was undefeated for the longest time. He was a linear champion, even when he was out with the troubles that he had, and kudos to him for being able to come back to the ring in the way that he did. But then it was decided in the ring, and it is Usyk, right? He's the man who's left standing. Whereas I don't want to see a B-rate fight now where it doesn't appeal to me as much. I don't want to see really Tyson Fury. I don't want to see him fight Usyk again, because I know all I need to know in his matchup against Usyk. I don't want to see him against Wilder, because Wilder should be retired. I don't want to see him against Anthony Joshua. I don't want to see him against Dubois either. I've seen Tyson Fury. He's one of the greats of this era. He's second in that ranking. And where Usyk is concerned, Chuck, I'd ride off into the sunset and retire as well, because while he hasn't fought Wilder and Dubois, he wants a rematch, because of course there was that was it a low blow, was he about to beat him? Maybe there's still a question mark there. So maybe if there is a fight that can happen, is Dubois. I just don't like Dubois. He doesn't sell fights very well. Like, I see him talking on the mic, I was like, I don't want to hear this guy.
He's just not that guy.
He's just not that guy. So as a result, Chuck, I've also seen everything I need to see from Usyk, and he's 37, 38.
Yeah.
And if that man decided that he wants to walk away with an undefeated record, because again, everywhere he's been, he's cleaned out the division, and that's all you can ask for from a guy. You know, the question is there anybody else out there? I don't think so. So Usyk can ride off into the sunset and retirement, and I think Tyson Fury can join him as well, because also for him, more in the negative though, there's also nothing out there for him either.
I mean, Carl Froch said that we tend to be reluctant to crown people the great while they're still active. We wait to see what's going to happen, and maybe wait for them to hang up their gloves, and then we say, well, looking back, he had a great career, and he was ready to crown Usyk the GOAT because of his exploits. And I wouldn't go as far as to say that he's a GOAT, but I think he's amazing. He's amazing as a fighter, because if you think about the hurdles that he's had to go through because he's always been the smaller guy against Joshua, against Fury. He's always been the smaller guy. If you think about the golden years of heavyweight boxing, that's the size of heavyweight boxers. That's the frame that they had. Because back then in the Ali days, the Frazier days, the heavyweights were quick as well. Heavyweights were strong as well. They were agile. But now you got big, lumbersome guys who's...
It's because those Clickjoe brothers came into the picture and they ruined it for everybody. Now you had to be a behemoth to compete in the heavyweight division.
Shout out to the Ukrainian fighters though, because you've got Usyk, you've got Lomachenko, you've got the Klitschko brothers as well, who did quite a number on boxing in terms of you'll remember who they are.
That's very true, eh?
Yeah, because I mean, if you think about when the Russia-Ukraine war started, Lomachenko and Usyk took a year off to serve their country, and I don't know if it's worked out for Lomachenko because I don't think he's supposed to be throwing or anything controversial against Haney. He's supposed to be just whipping that boy. But we'll see what his next fight is and what he does. But Usyk since then has been on the up and up. I mean, he's got into fights and he's won all of them. Obviously with the controversy against Dubois, but I think he's acquitted himself quite well. And I think, Jay, you can only beat what's in front of you. It's not his fault that it's not Muhammad Ali or Joe Frazier or Mike Tyson in front of him. It's Dubois. It's just Joshua. It's just Fury. And he's beating them handily in terms of I was convinced in both displays. And I mean, maybe the same watch that Ange drinks he gave a bit to Tyson Fury because Tyson Fury says both those losses to him don't count. He doesn't count them as losses. Like, guys, he just got beat.
That's what Eric Ten Hag also said.
Yes.
The result doesn't count. What was the reason again?
It was because Bruno was sent off, I think. And it's like, but we can't take that back. So that result
and that was rescinded. And it's like, it doesn't count. Like, you know, when you've had just too many blows to the head, whether figuratively or in the case of boxing, literally, these are the things you say. You start talking crazy, man. Like, that's crazy talk. You best get out of here with all of that because what are you saying?
Because last year he said Happy New Year, right? After you got beaten. So, but I mean, speaking on Tyson Fury, I think I was a bit disappointed because he said to us that when he's selling the fight, because obviously he's no Daniel Dubois, he can sell a fight. He said all the other times and for the most of my career, I've been a jovial man, been joking around, but this time I'm serious. Hence, you got the full beard and he looks like a caveman. He looked like Kratos from God of War. You're like, oh, is he gonna throw it down? Nah, more of the same. He was cautious out there because once you get hit in the mouth, you get to realize, oh, man, when I was sparring, I was not getting punched by Usyk, but now I'm getting punched by Usyk, so I can't do what I want.
Allegedly, Chuck.
Yeah.
Allegedly, the training regimen of Usyk is that he goes 15 4-minute rounds, and every third round, a new fighter comes into the ring. I don't know if that's true. So I say it's allegedly. I saw that like on a deep dive down a rabbit hole online. Like I saw that. But if that is true, yeah, man, that man is.
I need another one. He's broken.
Breed.
Give me someone else. He's broken. You know, sidetrack. You know what's very interesting about boxing? All these sparring sessions are just mystical and they're of legend because there are so many stories that everyone seems to refute or someone seems to confirm. Like someone who isn't a well-known guy but is a trainer for whoever says, no, Tyson Fury fought whoever and beat him. But it's never mainstream news for us to understand and consume in terms of, oh, okay, they sparred 5 rounds, whoever got the better of him, let's see what happens in a real fight. It's always surrounded in clouds and I don't know what happens in sparring matches because you get to see Haney was fighting Tank, but Mayweather had the tapes and then he released them years later and you're like, guys, that's just practice. Can't you let us know what really happened? But nonetheless, Jay, I think in that fight, Tyson Fury did let himself down a bit because when you're the challenger, you have to go and win the title. You can't hope they see it in your favor. You can't hope that things are go the way you think they are. You have to force the initiative. You have to take the belt from the champion. And so I don't think he displayed a fight that did that. So I think it makes sense for Usyk to still be crowned champion. I think he dominated a lot in the latter rounds. And as one of the commentators said, that he didn't allow Tyson to have any bit of momentum. He knows how to win a fight. If you win one fight against one round against Usyk, you make sure to win the next and the one after that and the one after that as well. So I don't think I saw Tyson give enough to win it. So no controversy for me. Shout out to Oleksandr Usyk.
Yeah, Riyadh season did come through in the clutch. We've had some big fights in the last couple of years. This was the last one
add,
for
Jay,
this
if
particular
there's anything, because you did say you don't want to see Tyson fight anyone. There was an idea of Beterbiev versus Usyk. And if you think about it, Usyk can maybe still come down to that weight because that's where he found most of his success in his career. And people were saying call Turkey Al-Ashik and maybe gets that done. So maybe it's a fight to be done after Bivol Beterbiev too.
Nah, dudes need to come up to Usyk. Like he's done enough. Unless of course he wants to do that. And he looks like he's cut from the same cloth as Saul, right? Where he's a fighter.
Yeah.
But as I'm saying, I would not be mad if Usyk says I'm done because he's done it all. You know.
Yeah.
As I'm saying, this was the last great fight for this year, and maybe we can say that we've finally feasted. We'll see what becomes of the year that is to come. We both agree with the result of Usyk. Not mad if Usyk goes away from the sport. Same thing with Tyson Fury as well. Is there any fight you want to see these two guys involved in? If there is, please do mention it down in the comments.